that's a man whose mind is strong.
Yes, 9.83 was not a joke when Oblique Seville burst onto the scene, but is he mentally tough? You know what? Let's jet into this story. Welcome to Jet. So first and foremost, before we get into what Seville's coach, Mr. Mills, exposed about him to see if it will settle what we have been speculating for some time, give thanks to Yahweh and Yahushua. Yes, man. Was Seville injured at the Olympics? Before we answer this question, it is important to appreciate his recent progress over 100 and 200 meters. Oblique Seville looks very impressive over training recently. He was running the 200 meter and he flew past everyone like a massive tornado sweeping across the track. He looked impressive recent over the 200 meter, clocking a time of 20.17 and better over the 400 meters in a time of 47.44. Jet has made many predictions that Seville form and improvement this season was nothing but impressive. Seville was expected to be a serious threat to everyone at the Olympics, but how can he be a serious threat to everyone if he's injured? Seville equaled his personal best at the national trials, came second behind Kashian Thompson. But was it purely injury or mental toughness that caused Oblique to miss out of the medal in Paris? Mr. Mills will answer some of these questions in his recent interview with Sports Max, which Jet will react and evaluate. But before we get there, apart from Kashian, Seville had beaten most of the athletes, both locally and the big stage. And beating one of the top guns in Lyles this season, he is on top of his game. Seville gets a good start from the get-go and Lyles was way down. We know Lyles has a very good top-end speed, but Oblique is also aware of this. After Seville was spotted in a photo recently with one of the world's famous doctors in managing injuries, no other than Hans Wilhelm Müller Hohlhart himself, the man many call with healing hands. We now know the reason for the visit, and his fans was worried because of the images of the pair has been splashing around social media with nothing but speculations. No official's word from his camp yet, until now.
Unfortunate thing is that after the trials, he got hurt in the finals. And we sent him off to Germany within 2 or 3 days. And they did a great job on him. But the injury that he had would require at least 2 to 3 more weeks to be fully healed. So,
and who did they send him to? Dr. Müller himself. Who is Hans Wilhelm Müller Hohlhart? Hans Wilhelm was the Bayern Munich's football doctor between 1977 to 2015. He was on and off with them. He has treated some of the biggest names in football and other sports. He uses a technique taken from cockerels called high alert to treat pain. Yes, man, the man pulled the substance from the chest of a cock, and me a top rooster, so don't get any ideas and control pains of many superstars. This is normally injected in the knee to lubricate the area, and sometimes he uses honey to inject into his patients. So cock and honey sound like a perfect combination. He has been seen as a controversial figure because of his homeopathic medical approach. Who has he treated? Some of the people he treated ranges from footballer Ronaldo, athletes such as Paula Radcliffe, Kelly Holmes, Maurice Green, and Usain Bolt. Seville back-to-back 4th in 2 world championships. Oblique had something to prove.
Back-to-back in these last world championships, Oblique, that just means something big is upon us. So talk about what you're looking to build going into Paris 2024.
Well, for the past 2 years, the championship has made me, I have learned from them. So for this season, I see where I made my mistakes in the past. So now it's just to get it together.
But another disappointment for the athlete. But where was the injury?
It's in the groin, the hip and the groin muscles thing. That so on a normal think it was in the Olympics who said don't run, but I mean, it's hard to tell him that this is the Olympics. You got to give it a try. So,
Yeah.
I know he was all torn up because he was saying that this is the third time, and but he's young, and he'll get over it, and eventually I think that he will have his day in the sun. The number I am, if there's anything to think, is that I am impressed that he has gotten much faster than he was last year, and to run his PR like that and not 100% his thing, but.
Yes, Mr. Mills is right. Seville has improved dramatically, but as Mr. Mills said, he's young. But how much more Olympics does he have to be competitive when athletes are coming up through the system rapidly? No. Many of us are speculating if Seville is mentally strong on the big stage, and this question was put to Mills, but before the question was completed, Mr. Mills came out defensively.
A few individuals suggesting that given what has happened in the last 3 years, that maybe he could benefit from having a sports psychologist, especially going into the 2025
There's
season.
nothing wrong with him mentally.
Yeah.
There's absolutely nothing wrong with him mentally. It's funny. Last year,
Yeah.
his performance, based on the fact that he was injured, couldn't train for thing.
And he got injured in May last year.
Just the week before
Racers
Grand Prix. And for him to come back and make the team, it was a gutsy thing. He made it by 1/100th of a second. That's a man whose mind is strong.
Glen Mills said it was purely injury that cost him a spot on the podium. Jet is always in support for Oblique, but over the years we have seen him perform in top shape. But when it comes to the big stage, it appears that he is always injured. Boy, the man salty. On a serious note, we have seen Coleman, although he won a couple world titles, Omenyala, Asafa Powell, Oblique Seville, and many more with promising future failed on the stage when it matters most. Seville is tough, Jet agrees, but how tough? Does he need a little help on the mental preparedness? Kishian was also injured in that final, and he came under pressure with little experience, but still held off Curly for the silver and almost won the race. Although some would say he won it, but that is for another debate. Lyles benefited from a sports psychologist, he said it himself. Receiving therapy as an athlete should not be seen as a taboo subject. In fact, some of the toughest sprinters benefit from such intervention, as Lyles did. And look at him today.
I wouldn't say nervous. I'd say I was extremely curious to what was going to happen. That's how me and my therapist phrase it. I'm curious to what I'm going to do. How am I going to pull this off, basically, situations like that. Because easily, I came in third fastest, from the semis. I'm like, this is going to be serious. This is not going to be easy. And I said, okay, my therapist said, you need to let go, you need to relax, and you need to be yourself.
Mills said it is sometimes a cycle athletes have to go through, and Seville is young and will have his day soon.
I don't know, in sports, you go through this, because I remember when you say we had 2 years of it.
06 and early 07?
Well,
05, 06,
and
yeah.
thing. And so on till they even boo him and so on later. So I tell him to be strong. Sports is a science, is a cycle, and his time will come. He's just 23.
Yeah.
And probably should have made him stay in Germany and continue and the treatment and come straight to the...
So
because when he came to the camp, there was no follow up with the treatment,
Yes.
etc.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, he was able to run the next day, because when he ran the heats, we took him to the doctor came to Paris, and he went to treat, and he got treatment at 4 o'clock the very evening, so he could run the next day.
Wow.
So it's just unfortunate that his foot didn't hold up until for the finals. But mentally, he's as tough as nail, and his competitiveness is there.
Tough as nail. But if Mr. Mills is correct, then what we have to do to get Seville a championship medal?
What he's on is on a strength development program. Strength, you develop strength in increment. Because of his structure and thing, we don't want to put too much mass on him, because we had done the science, etc. So the incremental, he's much stronger now than he was last year and the year before. I think eventually, based on what I say, by 24, 25, he would be where he ought to be. So we're patient, and we're gonna get there. So
compare the body mass of Kishian and Seville, there's a big difference. Does he need more muscles? What about more strength? Well, some would say Stephen Francis, master your craft of managing injuries. Glen, go check Fran on a man. So, what is your view? Do you agree with Mr. Mills that Seville is tough as a nail and need a little more strength work, and being injury-free will do the trick? Or do you believe he needs more than that? A therapist for mental strength instead? For those of you who've forgotten to subscribe, please touch the like button, smash the subscribe button, and touch up the bell. And remember to share with your friends and family. So here we are going now. We are going to jet off,